Welcome back to episode 11 of Reality Hits the Fan. With us today is one of our favorite people. You guys have seen us before. But before we do that, Erlis, give me one more time where we're at.
We are in the Good Vibes room. This is Airless, MVM, powered by Capitulo Financial. We are glad to be here with you this morning, and we look forward to giving you some information that you truly need and you are going to enjoy. I'm going to let Leon take over and introduce to you our favorite guest of all times.
Favorite?
Favorite.
Wow. Favorite so far.
Sure, but how many guests are? We'll bring you down a notch, right?
No, you're definitely one of our favorite people to talk to. But since I apparently don't like to introduce myself, guys, my name is Leon Palacio. I am also a loan officer with the MVM Group, powered by Capitulo Financial. And to my right,
Well, they're here left. My TV might be.
It's sitting next to me is the one and only Mr. Jamie Rossi, another member of our MVM family.
Yes.
And one of the people that I love to hear the most because you can hear the passion in his voice whenever he speaks about absolutely anything. Guys, before we get into that, Erlis, what are we talking about today?
So today, we want to bring to you the importance of cash outs. So Jamie's going to lead us into letting us know what a cash out refinance is, the benefits that you can get from a cash out refinance, and are you the right candidate for it? So without further ado, let our guest Jamie introduce himself, let us know what he does, how long he's done it for, and then we'll take it from there.
So, Jamie Rossi, loan officer here, part of the MVM Group. Been writing loans since 2004. And it's a very exciting topic for me to discuss because the majority of the transactions that I was involved in were cash out refis. And so I feel really comfortable talking about the subject matter today.
I did not know that. You did cash out refis.
Now, 95% of the business that I've written since 2004 has been cash out refis, with some home purchases sprinkled in, obviously more home purchases recently, but the history of it is cash out refis.
Leon, you were right. I could hear his voice. The passion about his job and what he did, how he did it, and how happy he was when he did it. It's true. That's also true. All right, then.
So the fact that he can be happy all the time is astounding to me.
Yeah.
In this industry, we tend to curse a little bit.
Not a whole lot. We keep it whole for the most part.
We do.
All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in about cash out refinances. So, Jamie, what is a cash out refinance?
All right, so cash out refinance is, a transaction that, number one, you have to own a home, right? Number two, you have to have equity in your home. Number three, you got to be able to qualify for that cash out refi. So if you check all those boxes off, ultimately your cash out refi is an opportunity for you to tap into the amount of equity you have in your home, to use that equity, use that money for whatever goal you're trying to accomplish, whether that's paying off credit card debt, taking the cash to do a family vacation, repairs to your home if you want to do a renovation project, you want to put your kids through school, you want to take that money at a very, very low rate and invest it into the market, whatever your market is, to make money back. And then ultimately you could do whatever you want with that equity, however you choose to use it.
So in your experience, you said 98%.
95.
95. And I apologize. 95% of your business was simply just cash
out refis.
What was the main reason?
To consolidate credit card debt.
Credit card debt.
Why
does that? I mean, I got the chills when I said credit card debt.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Why? And this kind of goes to the conversation we had last week, Erlis. With everybody sees the Fed getting together, upping rates. They don't realize is they're not necessarily correlated to mortgages. They're correlated to all financing aspects, right? So that Fed rate going up is really bank to bank money transfers.
Right.
But what it really impacts is credit cards, auto loans, personal loans, mortgages. So everything is on the rocks.
Right.
And if your mortgage is going to go up, you get a notification if you have a variable rate mortgage.
Right.
But your credit cards, they don't tell me, hey, great news. Your interest went from 18% to 29% overnight. And now what?
So if I don't pay attention to my credit card statement next month, there's a very good chance that my rate went up.
Yeah, and nobody's going to know. And you know why that you wouldn't know it? Because most people, what they focus on in that statement is what their minimum payment is. So whenever their minimum payment is, they pay it, they get it in the mail. They're not even looking at what their rate is. They're not even thinking about how long it would take to pay their credit card off by simply making minimum payments. I mean, you're looking 15, 20 years, on a small balance on a credit card.
If I'm not mistaken, that target, if you pay the minimum balance with your interest rate, is actually also spread over 30 years.
Very possible, sure. Right. It's a long time.
So if you're going to pay 30 years on a credit card, that you freak out because your interest rate is 6% on a mortgage?
Wow. Right. Wow. So I want to take that from there. So folks, if you haven't been following the news or the trend, the interest rates were raised by the feds. And just like Leon said, what that means, that the par rate or the interest rate, right? It is the transfers that or the I guess the money that a bank gives to another bank overnight, right? That's what it means, the Fed rate. So that went up by 0.75%, and this happened on Wednesday, September the 21st. So that's why we're here to explain to you that your credit card interest rate just went up. It just went up. So if you have high balances, like James said, this would be an ideal time for you to do what?
To do a cash out refi, pay off the credit card debt. I think that, we're one of the ways you survive a recession. And, we're clearly in a recession based on the traditional definition of what a recession is. Now, some people might want to change that definition for various reasons, but we're in a recession. One of the ways you survive a recession is to have no debt. I mean, that's how you survive a recession. You have no debt. And whether that's student loans, whether that's credit cards, personal loans, whatever your debt situation is, if you want to get through this recession, the best way to do that is to have no debt. And most people don't have the financial means to pay off their debt, the average American, the average homeowner, other than what? Their home.
Right.
And the equity that they've accrued over however many years they've owned it. So tapping into that equity, paying off the credit card debt. Yes, you may have a 3% right now, but you have 27% in your credit cards. You have $75,000 in credit card debt. Your minimum payments are a couple $1,000 a month, whatever the case may be. Pay those off, use the equity in your home. Even if you're going into a 5.5%, 6.5% rate, your overall big picture is going to be so much better than if you stay where you currently are when you have no access to liquidity to pay off the credit card debt. They're not going to magically disappear, right? Unless you hit the lotto. Well, and then the other thing too that's great is whatever amount you're saving a month, well, geez, I only have, I've been paying 5 years on the mortgage. I don't really want to go back into a 30-year. I just don't know if I want to do that. Well, here's the thing. You're going to save a handsome amount of money. And you can take that money. Let's say you're saving a couple $1,000 a month by consolidating the credit card debt. You can take 1,000 of it and make an extra $1,000 payment to your mortgage. All of a sudden, you're ahead of the game. Right. So you just have that financial freedom by doing a cash out refi to be able to get yourself set straight, be debt free, and then just make sure to be responsible after that. Because the trap is, and a lot of people get sucked into this, and nobody is immune to this, is they get back into the debt system, because they're just not financially responsible, or an emergency happens, something where they get back into the debt system. So the key is to also be fiscally responsible and exercise some self-control to not get back into that situation.
Right. I think for our audience and our viewers out there, it's really critical, particularly in times like this, to learn financial literacy.
Yes.
Right? Learn where your money's going. Find out how to budget. Another big topic is people are getting into car loans. It's super easy to get into a car loan that's $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 a month. And it's really like handicapping you from being able to purchase in the future. getting debt up to your neck. And we're not telling you to do a cash out refi if you have your finances in order, right? If you owe a couple $100 on your credit cards, it's definitely not worth it to do a cash out refi because you don't need to.
Right.
But if you have $20,000-$30,000 in credit card debt, a car payment that's $1,500, and you're looking at your finances monthly,
Right.
and it's way over what you make, and you own a home, guys, use that leverage to give yourself a peace of mind.
Yeah, so you've earned it. You earned it. You've made your mortgage payments on time. You've been responsible. You've owned the home for X amount of years. You've accrued equity in the home. That's your money. You've earned it. Use it wisely. Right. And to your point, no one here is saying do a cash out refi and go to Vegas and just play roulette. Let me share a quick testimony. Besides the credit card debt, a lot of people in America are uninsured and they have medical bills up to their eyeballs. And years and years and years ago, I did a cash out refi for a woman. Her and her husband were freelance authors, so they had no health insurance. She ended up having breast cancer, had to get a lot of surgeries and procedures done, and they ran up like $150,000 in credit card debt, paying the medical bills with their credit cards because they had no other option. And we were able to, they had enough equity in their home to be able to pay off the credit card bills. Their medical bills were taken care of, credit card bills were taken care of. They saved a really an exorbitant amount of money that they then were able to use to do whatever they wanted. They pay the mortgage down. They had that money. They had no debt, and they felt a sense of freedom.
Yeah. I'll give you my own testimony. My son was born a year ago this October, and the birthing process was like $24,000.
Yeah,
with insurance. With insurance.
Yeah.
Right. Now, luckily, we were blessed and we had the savings, and it's something that we were prepared for. But not everybody has that same luxury, right?
Correct.
So if you perceive yourself going into the situation, child care is a situation, it's a blessing.
Right.
But, the most important is having that peace of mind. I know I'm not losing sleep because I have a ton of debt, a new baby, and my life completely changed overnight, literally, right? So, again, give yourself that financial freedom.
Yes.
Of being able to take care of yourself.
Yes.
The peace of mind of being able to sleep at night and not be worried about paying these bills and if you're going to be late and all this other that comes along. Because that's one of the biggest things is you get into a hole and then you end up digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. When there's a solution, you just need to speak to the right people that have your best interest in mind and are going to guide you to get out of that hole.
Absolutely.
Folks, just like Leon and
JB, your friends, yes.
Jimmy mentioned.
Want to use his favorite?
What's your name?
I'll just get that. Just like Jamie and Leon mentioned, if you are that individual who is struggling with credit card debt, car payment, just simply look at your monthly expenses. Look at your paycheck that you receive. Are you struggling to make those payments to meet your deadlines? If that is the case, we would love to have you here to consult with any of us here, and we'll explain to you shortly where, how, or how you can reach us. But let's have a conversation simply to understand what Leon mentioned, financial literacy. Where are you with your financing? Is that making sense for you? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? And if that's the case, it's time to schedule time to meet. So with that being said, so we all agree, and this is the ideal time to do a cash out refinance. Yeah, if you check mark all those things that I just mentioned.
Absolutely. Everybody's situation is different. Here's a real interesting tidbit of information. There is close to $1 trillion in consumer credit card debt right now across the country. Close to $1 trillion. And I think that's something that's not discussed very often. That and thankfully, because of the real estate market and the housing market, there's enough equity out there for people to be able to leverage and pay off that credit card debt and keep themselves out of the debt system. And we're not saying not to use credit cards, but the key is to be able to pay those off as soon as possible. And my wife and I use a credit card for everything, but it's paid off every month, and we're not running a debt every month. So I would just say that's another thing to keep in mind is that that's a bubble that no one's talking about. That if you're able to, like I said, use your equity, and it makes sense, and there's a tangible financial benefit to doing a cash out refi to pay off the credit card debt, I would say go for it.
Perfect. So I know we're running out of time. We have to be quick on this one. But what's the process? What does it take to get started with the cash out refinance?
Conversation.
Just simply have
That's a quick conversation.
So are there closing costs included in the cash out refinance? I mean, are the payments going to go higher? Are the mortgage payments going to go higher if you choose to do a refinance to pay other debt or, live a different lifestyle? These are some things that we can perhaps touch on the following or upcoming, podcast. So
Absolutely.
with that being said, folks, thank you so much again. This is Airless.
Jamie.
And your favorite, Leon.
Outstanding. So we will see you guys on the next podcast. Leon, any closing arguments that you want to?
No, but we almost forgot about it. One of my favorite actual topics is her questions. Jamie, if you had one piece of advice to give our listeners and our viewers, what would that be?
As far as this topic that we're discussing right now,
I like to keep it pretty broad. Whatever you think is best,
that
I'll leave that up to you.
well, I'm just going to stay on topic, just because I think that the advice that I would give you is that if you're a homeowner and you have access to equity and you need to get out of the hole that you've dug in, that you should seriously consider a cash out refi and not be so tied to the interest rate on your mortgage. Because if you're sitting at a 3% or a 3.5%, and you're hearing that rates are 6 and 6.5%, and you have a boatload of credit card debt that's at 25%, that 3% is not doing anything for you. It might make you feel good. It might be great to brag to your neighbor that you have a 3%, but you're not telling your neighbor that you have $100,000 in credit card debt at 29%. They never tell them that. So I would just really seriously look at your overall big picture, consider the possibilities, and like you said, it's a conversation, it's a phone call. Right. I mean, there's no commitment on your part unless you want to move forward, and the only way you're going to move forward is if it makes sense financially for you to do that. And so I would that's my piece of advice.
So Leon, how do they get a hold of us?
There's a couple ways, but the easiest way is to go to our website, and that's www.mvngrp.com. I finally learned it.
Yes.
I've actually, before I go to sleep every night, I tell myself what's the website.
I got it.
It's accounting cheap.
All right. Gene, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
It has been a learning experience for myself, and I'm sure for Leon as well.
It's always a play.
Yes. Now you guys know how to get a hold of us, so please don't hesitate. We are here almost all the time.
Literally. And if we're not here, mentally we are. So
it makes perfect sense.
Call, reach out, Instagram, Facebook. If you send a messenger pigeon, I'd probably do that too.
Smart says us.
Yeah.
All right, then. Without any further ado, thank you so much for your time. But this is our 11th episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
And with that very one. So we will see you the next time, and have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you soon.